One thing that I want to talk to you about, especially if you want to go into ministry, and for those of you who are in ministry, especially the ones that have been through it for many years, you can identify with this very, very clearly. There are going to be times that people are going to come to you that you have to say no. And initially, this never feels good whenever I do this. But first and foremost, I have to always look exactly where I'm supposed to be and what he has laid before me. You can say, well, and also based on what instructions he's given. He's only given me one instruction. And many times I've had people who have come to me in this country and overseas as well, from people I've talked to in various sections of my ministries, where I could not help them. I could point them in the right direction, which is always the heart of God, who is Jesus, and he in turn provides. But many come to me as the provider. I've had one person come to me the other day, and I had to lay my foot down hard. He said, I talked to God, and he told me, you are the one that's supposed to help me here. I felt in my heart 100% no. This felt wrong from the get-go. I've known this person for more than 2 years, and I knew in my heart, no. It didn't go any further than that. God's revelations for me and his true heart has never gone any further than the very next thing in front of me. And nothing was more assured to me than I say, I can't help you at this point. I can't. We talked about Jesus. We talked about his heart and his purity and his fullness, where they are in him, which is the most important thing, because we are all in the same place. We are all equal inheritors. And it took a little while. I got hostility back initially. He said, you just don't care anymore. You're throwing it all away. No, I'm not. I am staying right exactly where I'm supposed to stay. God has not given me any unction at all to move forward on this. My heart feels uneasy. It is absolutely, I am 100% sure I'm making the right decision. He said, but God talked to me and he told me to do this. Like, God did not speak to me. Are you sure who you heard was God? And I heard silence for a minute. I'm like, oh, the fact that you didn't immediately answer leads me to believe something very, very strongly here. That many times when we talk to people, a lot of times we foster our own our own mental picture and just walk away from the foundation and go out into the deep end rather than staying near the shoreline. And as a result of that, we can lose our ground and we can start to drown. So important, because we have nothing would give me greater pleasure and greater love in my heart than to be able to provide everything to everybody who asks me. I can't do that. I don't think you can either. He fought me for a bit. He said, I've known you. Why? I said, first of all, I can't at this point. Actually, physically, from a physical standpoint, I cannot for what you're asking me for. And number two, my spirit tells me 100%, do not move from this spot. God has given me a strong foundation in him. He's nearsightedness has always been a strength. We always, as people, strengthen ourselves by able to look into the future and to look to see our course down the way and then we can go ahead and make plans. God's the opposite. He doesn't allow you to see any further than the next step in front of you. He lets you, that's as far as He allows you to see because your faith in him is the ultimate strength. And that's what determines it. For all I know, the person that's going to give this person help is not me. The path that if I would have taken upon myself to provide for this person, could have altered this one on a course that could have led to his destruction. But by waiting and having another source provide something different to him, it could change and alter that person's destiny on this earth. Our destinies in the Spirit are locked and set. Ephesians tells us that. But our life here on this earth, since we're operating under the confines of time, we're now operating under faith, which is the next step. People in the physical dictate that we have to plan for way in the future. And in many aspects of our physical life, we have to do that. But when it comes to the Spirit, it comes to our spiritual growth and our nurturing and our basis, it's never any further than right here. And it's foreign to so many. We can't see that. We don't want to see that. We divorce ourselves from the Spirit. We go to churches that have to always try to help us have to supplicate us physically. And this is why prayer has been limited to supplication. Prayer has been limited to that. It is taken not just the discussions and the private time alone with God, but the time that we get to experience our life with God every single time, every single moment of every day. He's living in us, and every step that we take, he takes with us. He doesn't frown upon every step that we take that is a wrong step. He is so honored and so full of love for us that we have accepted him in our hearts, that we bring him with us every step that we take. And when we just look back and just see God there, that's prayer. Acknowledging of his presence is communion. It doesn't always have to be conversation. It doesn't always have to be private time. It doesn't have to be locking yourself in a closet for 3, 4, 5 hours for a whole day. It doesn't have to be fasting for 30, 40 days, whatever you want to do. I don't know. Whatever religious tradition you want to do. It's all about experiencing life with God. Experience is a dirty word in churches. When you start speaking about experience with God, people think, oh, you're talking about the New Age religion. No. Why? If you're a parent and you have a child, you don't want to experience things with your child? You want to just shove them off and throw them away to everywhere else? You want to experience life with them. Obviously, there's going to be a time when they're going to be on their own, and go about. But you want to experience life with them? That's what gives you joy. Well, God has joy by experiencing your life with him. And when I have people come to me and they ask me for things, I know their hearts are good. I know their intentions are good. Many times I can provide and help people. A lot of times I can't. It hurts my heart. It really does. But I know I go to sleep at night knowing that I made the right decision. And that somebody, somewhere will come along that will alter that person on that path to a different course here on this earth. You know, my interaction with these people has already been a blessing to me and to them. And whatever decision they make from this point would never have happened if I did not have that communication with them up to this time. Likewise with you. This is a message that I really feel can relate to people. And for ministers, I know that it can really hurt. And this causes a lot of stress on ministers and pastors because they can't help everybody. And I know always a big part of them wants to be able to, I want to be able to help everyone who comes to me. And I know that. I hate saying no. But sometimes, many times, unfortunately, we have to. I'll give you one more example here. I have several people overseas who always need finances to help families, children, and so forth and so on. I had one person come to me over in Pakistan, and he had asked for some money for a group of people that he needed help with. And I've known this person now for a few years. I said, I can't, because I had already given some money before to a person who had come up to me earlier, and that person needed an operation for his child. His insurance wouldn't cover it, and his child was suffering a life-threatening situation. Someone can ask me, did you actually explain that to that person? No. Many times I don't have to feel like I have to explain it to people. I just go by my course, and I go by my gut instinct. If that person's watching here tonight, they'll know what's going on. But this is the perfect example of, sometimes if I have the opportunity to do something, something holds me back. I can't. I just can't. Then I find out later clearly where it has to go. And it all works together, because that, my path that I had, my choice, if it's the right choice, will help that other person who initially asked help make a better choice than if I had fostered that person's request. Very interesting discussion here, but I think some of us can relate. I love to say yes to people, but sometimes we have to say no. First person to go to when it comes to something like that is Spirit. Stay in His presence. Let His heart fill you, and He'll guide you exactly where you need to go, what you need to say, and where you actually would need to apply anything that you would, any gift that you have to help lift that person up. I pray this will be a blessing to you. This is not a message I typically do, but I think this is something that people need to hear, especially ministers out there. Because I think a lot of weight is on their shoulders, a lot of unnecessary weight. And Jesus said, come to me, all who are weary, I will give you rest. I think in that, when you just surrender and give yourself that rest and just open your heart, you'll see exactly where you need to go. You'll have people that are going to try to pull you in many different directions, especially when they see the heart and how well you operate in the gift that God has given you. But it's very easy to let yourself be pulled in directions where you're going to be asked to give more than you were designed to give. When you stay in that center and that focus, you will become the instrument for the people who need to hear it, to those who you will be able to most effectively operate. And in the interactions that you've had with those previous people who you've had to reject and had to say no, those previous experiences will help them walk on a path that they had not known previously, because your actions have been just a course correction for them that His Spirit has used through you to help them walk on a path that's more pure. God bless you all. Have a great night. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.